Well, I've been studying government programs for over 35 years. It could be 40, I don't know, I'm such an old guy. But I'm still doing it, and I get more excited about it every day because there's so much here, particularly for entrepreneurs and people who want to start a business. You could be a freelancer, you could be a multi-billion-dollar business, you know, or you could be just somebody who wants to start a home-based business on something. And there's so much help and money and everything for that category of people, and there's thousands of programs, and that's the problem. People go and Google, you know, now here's what I Googled, you know, and like money for business. Okay, here's what I got. 30 million websites. 6 billion websites. You're not going to live long enough to even see a fraction of those websites. See, information explosion, it's overwhelming. You know, so that's why I've been studying for 35 years or more, and I want to give you like the best. If you want to start a business, you want to grow a business, you want to be independent in some way, I'll show you here 7 programs that you have to make sure you know about to take that business to the next level, whether it's starting, you know, on your kitchen table like me, or you got 5,000 people and you want to get to the next level. They're for everybody, and they're for everybody because, you know, man, this is the way I started this information business. I was working for Fortune 500 clients. Fortune 500 clients would call me and they'd want to expand their business. They want to look for money, for more sales, for more information, technology, whatever. And I had an office down on K Street, you know, where all these, you know, sharks are in Washington, you know, getting money. And I would help them, and I'd charge them tens of thousands of dollars. And now, man, I want everybody to know. I mean, why all the fat cats who would I charge thousands of dollars for that I would get for free? And it bothers me. I grew up in a little town called Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania. You know, I didn't know any about these things. So now I want to know. Everybody in Wilkesboro knows about these. Everybody. So you could decide yourself if you take advantage of them or not. So instead of going through and Google and seeing 6 billion, or even if you find, you know, the 17,000 programs that I've found in my life, you know, here are 7 of the best I think you keep around for any time you're thinking about starting something, you know, a venture, a business, a nonprofit, a freelancer, that you could get help for free and money. Okay, now here's the first one. Okay, it's the place you go to start for any kind of thing you want to do. It's free. They're consultants. They get grants from the government. These are experts. They're getting grants from the government to help you find money, to help you manage a business, to help you do business plans, to help you do your taxes, almost anything. You know, technology or whatever, any kind of problem, even marketing, do a press release or whatever. There's thousands of these people all around the country getting grants to help you for free. You know, and you call up and you make an appointment. Yeah, and why don't you know about them? Because they don't advertise. You know, that's the thing. So that's why you have to find out about them yourself. So here's where to find out. You could go, there's a website of these organizations called asbdc-us.org. asbdc-us.org. Put in your zip code and you'll find the organizations, you know, locally that will help you and do this for free. Man, you know, you're asking your friends for advice. They don't know because everybody's different. You know, they're not even in this business. So that's right. They will help any kind of business. They have the expertise, you know, to do that. Also, I have a video on, if you go to my YouTube channel, YouTube/Matthew Lesko 70, you know, you will see a video on this, so you could see that expert talking, and he tells you how you can call him for nothing and do all that. And if you're not, you know, you can click on YouTube. I mean, on the link here, if you're watching it on YouTube. If not, go to YouTube and see this video, and we'll put it in the comments section so you can link right to it. Okay, everybody thinks about SBA loans, okay? And they're true, they are there, and it's one of the biggest sources. It's a fraction of what's out there, but it's a major source. But what you should know, if you're considering an SBA loan, what's good and bad about these SBA loans, okay? Because, you know, the main thing that people don't realize is that even though everybody's, you know, it seems like every bank gives them, No, they don't. They're giving them, but to certain people. Certain banks specialize in certain kind of businesses because they can't understand all kind of businesses. So what you have to do, if you're interested in an SBA loan, is not to go to a bank. Here, go to that place I told you earlier, Small Business Development Centers. ASBDC-US.org. And they will find you the banks that specialize in your kind of business. That's what you want. And don't worry about it. It takes forever. There's all these paperwork. Sure, there's some, but they'll also help you fill out all that applications and things. So that's why it may be good and may not. And that's why don't go directly to the bank, because then when you find out the banks that specialize for you, you could contact everyone. It's like going shopping. If you were shopping for a car, you wouldn't go to one dealer and say, okay, I got a car now, and I'll pay this one. No, you shop for money the same way, but you have to know the places where they're giving out money for what you want. And that's where to get there. Okay, another thing that people don't realize, man, why struggle trying to get a $10,000 grant when you could get a $1 million government contract? People always say, oh, where do I get a grant for business? And there's a lot of grants for business. It's usually at the state and local level, and we've had separate videos that explain where to get that. But more importantly, and by the way, the business development centers, the people I talked to about the first two items, they'll help you find those kinds of things too. But to me, what's even more important than government contracts, like my sister, see this thing on the wall? She frames this kind of stuff. She works in the middle of Virginia, somewhere out in the country, where she does $1 million worth of business for the government framing stuff. Who would have thought? The government buys more of anything than anything in the world. And what's interesting about contracts, see, if you get a grant, you're figuring out how to get a grant from the government for your business or small business or whatever, man, you're going to go through, it takes effort to research. So you spend a couple weeks, couple months, or long it takes to do it. But the problem is with grants, they're only usually one time and they're not big. They're not really, they're going to give you $1 million, unless you found a new cure to cancer or something, But you can't get millions of dollars of contracts, And if you spend the same amount of time learning that system, it's renewable. You learn it once, you get it. You do it again, you get it again. You don't have to learn something new all the time. You're getting the same thing, That's why government contracts are the hottest thing for business, Because don't forget, over a third of our economy is the government. So they're buying more television sets, they're buying more consulting business. I even saw where the government spent like $30,000 on a freelance priest, right? They buy anything, broom handles if you buy, spaghetti, anything you could think of. You're making jewelry. Well, they have, a chain of department stores called PXs that have all this stuff. How do you get in there? You're a stand-up comic or a band. Don't forget all their clubs they have on the military bases are looking for talent. So you don't need an agent. You just book yourself directly. And that's available. And what's neat about this, there are organizations, professionals that get grants from the government to help you get a government contract. So you don't have to hire a consultant. You go on Google and say, oh, I want to get how to become an 8A or something. Nah, don't do any of that. Because these offices get grants to do all that for you for free. And also what they do, they have a program that gives out grants to small businesses so they figure out how to get contracts. So this is a government program that's giving you money to figure out how to get more money. Wow, who would have thought? Only the government, right? So here's where you go to find out, get that free help for getting a contract. And you go to aptac-us.org. That's aptac-us.org. And here's an interview that we've done with a government official telling you about this program. This is the guy giving out the contracts, and he tells you right there, hey, no, you don't have to hire an expert. We'll do all. You don't have to hire somebody to become an 8A. We'll do that for you. I mean, that's until you hear it from the horse's mouth. That's why these videos I have attached to this thing. Every topic here has a video, on our YouTube channel, that will tell you the specifics. So you could sit maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes and see all the specifics of what's available. So you to get the most out of this. So if you spend an extra 20 minutes of your time that's worth $1 million, where the hell are you going to get that? That's why instead of Googling around and looking someplace on the internet, that's why I boil that. That's what's so important about expertise nowadays. I mean, you can Google everything, but you get a billion websites. What good is that? Okay, here's the fourth thing. How about $7,000 to train yourself because now you're an entrepreneur, or to get $250,000 to train your employees. That's right. Every state has programs for that. They have programs for training your employees. You have a call center and you want to train them in customer service, and they have grant money to do that. Or you're a massage therapist and you want to learn a new way to massage people, or yoga instructor and you want to learn a new technique or whatever, and it costs a couple $1,000s. That's what this is for. You want to learn a programming language or whatever. It's training money, because we give out these grants to businesses in every state because we have to compete in the world. So we're competing, with every other country in the world, because the world is so small or whatever. So that's why we have these training programs for you to grow your business. If you don't have the skills and techniques to grow in the world, you're not going to compete in the world economy, and China's going to be still knocking our socks off, if we don't get more educated and be able to compete better in the world economy. Okay, to find out where locally for you to get this kind of money, it's careeronestop.org, careeronestop.org, and then /business center. Okay, so that's what you're looking for, the careeronestop.org /business center. So these are all the programs, and actually that's you're hiring people, they help you do that. You're firing people, they help you do that, and they'll come in and show your employees what government money they could get because now they're not working, or what training programs money they have, or whatever. I mean, it's incredible, what these Career One-Stop centers have, and even as a small business, so you're an entrepreneur, and you need skills or something. So there's training money there. So find out how you could use that. And we have 2 videos really on this. So these training videos from the Career One-Stop Center. So go to youtube.com /MatthewLesko70. We have videos there. There's 2 on this, or the link below. I'll put the links to the videos in there too. Okay, now. Overseas. Okay, the world is small. Every business now has to find customers overseas, because this is how people grow, and we're not selling overseas much. We're shrinking in that. Well, we're starting to go up again. That's why there's government programs. There always has been. Now you help so many Fortune 500 companies take advantage of the money and help and information and marketing help to sell your goods and product overseas. I mean, you could be a consultant. Say a Google consultant, how to make money on Google. Well, how about people overseas? So you get money to find business opportunities overseas. They even have money for you to travel overseas to look for customers. They'll dispatch people from the embassies to find you customers overseas. I mean, that's incredible to me. You hire some consultant, they'll charge you tens of thousands of dollars to do this. They'll dispatch people from the embassy and go out all over the country they're in to find you customers. And they check out their backgrounds. There's offices too. They'll make appointments for you. They'll find your potential customers, make appointments when you come over. You have a place to meet in the embassy. You get translators. You got all this kind of stuff. Man, where else are you going to get that? And they give you money to get there. Man. Isn't that incredible? Man, you think people rely on Google, they're not going to find this stuff, because it's hidden in those 6 billion websites, whatever the heck that was. It's 6 billion, 6 billion, 30 million websites. So that's why. So we, now to find a list of, but you work at the state, you don't go to Washington, you go to your state government. Every state government has an office to help you export, to get business overseas, get clients overseas, because they want you to bring in more money to the state. So they'll help you do that, And so, but SBA, the website has a nice listing of economic development agencies. So if you Google SBA economic development agencies, you'll find the list, or actually it's sba.gov /content/economic development agencies. This is another way to find it, and we'll put the links below on YouTube for this video, so you could find them. And we have a great video of one of these officials at a state office who tells you about these programs and how neat they are. I mean, she verifies this stuff. I don't make this stuff up. You can't. It's too incredible to make this stuff. I never would have think of it. Who would know to ask those questions? Hey, where could I get somebody to make an appointment for somebody who's going to give me money in another country? Who would ever think about it? That's why we're the question mark suit. Okay, now here's number 6. Here's what I think, a big opportunity everybody misses. your elected official, your congressman, man, how to get money legally for free from your congressman. They are your access to so much in the government. You know, even me, I've been studying this 35 years or something. Any congressman, elected official office is better than me, because see, no one knows what's there. Okay, I call the congressman, I call the government office, or whether it's giving out the money, or you call the government office. They may or may not help you depending on the mood of the day or whatever, and you get the runaround maybe, or whatever, and you have to get through that, and that's part of doing business. And it happens the same when you call Comcast, right? So it's nothing new in the life. It's something you have to learn to be able to survive in the current situation. You know? But if you call your congressman, man, they're the most powerful people to any bureaucrat than you will ever be, than some lobbyists and whoever be, because this is where the bureaucrats' money come from. And the bureaucrats' money comes from the people voting for it on Capitol Hill. So every agency has special offices, like little phone banks to answer calls from the congressmen and senators, so they get their answers right away. So you can call a congressman, say, and then see the congressman wants to appeal to you because you vote. This is what keeps them getting paid every day, is if you vote for them. See, and then so if they call you, you call the congressman, they call their back office number, the hotline they have, and they get it fixed instantly or find you what you need instantly. Man, you're going to vote for that son of a gun no matter what they do, no matter how many girlfriends they have or whatever the shenanigans they're pulling, because, we all operate like that, and they know that. And that's why they spend so much of their staff's effort helping people like you. And see, your congressman, whether it's getting money for a problem, your business, getting a government contract, finding out about the rules and regulations or whatever, they're there. Don't miss out on using them. How do you find your congressman? Well, actually, what you do is votesmart.org. Okay, votesmart.org is a place you go to find out. You put in your zip code and you find out all your elected officials. And we have a video showing you. I show you there in that video exactly. The senators have a listing of all the things they will do for you. Help you get a scholarship, help you get a contract, help you to... That's what they're there for. They don't cost anything. So why are you going out there hiring all these expensive fat cats? Yeah, stick with me, son. I'll get you the inside. Bullshit. You get it for free. And it's better if you know the system, because that's who they call. That's what I used to do. My fat cat clients used to call me up, and then I'd call a congressman. Where the hell is this thing? Because I couldn't find it for some reason. So you go directly, cut out the middleman. That's what technology really does to me nowadays, is cut out the middleman. So that video, and also votesmart.org. Okay, here's the last one. It's amazing. I don't know. National National Institute of Standards and Technology. I'm an old guy, so I remember old names of agencies. That's terrible. But if you go to nist.gov/MEP, nist.gov/MEP. These people are like the Booz Allen and Hamilton. Booz Allen and Hamilton, they're these hotshot consultants that charge $1,000 an hour for their expertise or whatever, and they come out and fix Fortune 500 companies. Sometimes they fix them, sometimes they don't. These are the same kinds of people, trained the same way, that come out and do a half a day for your business for free. That's right, for free. So you get $5,000 of free consulting. They'll come out and evaluate your business, where you're going to make more money, where you're not, and things like that, all for free. And if you want to do more, then they charge you, but it's a fraction of what these big hotshots cost you. But man, just to have a half a day, somebody with expertise in evaluating companies that will come out and evaluate your company, that's an incredible bargain. I think in our country. But who knows? They're not going to advertise. Booz Allen and Hamilton, man, advertising their tushies off, for this. So you know about it. And we have a video of one of the experts who does this. And watch that video, man. They'll tell you, how they do this, why they do this. It's not a secret. It's not a conspiracy theory they're hiding it. No, they just don't have advertising money like Booz Allen have. They have a big PR marketing department and everything like that. So, YouTube.com/Matthew Lesko 70. Man, you can see that video. Watch that expert tell you about the stuff they're going to do. So spend a couple minutes doing that even before you make a phone call. Now that was 7. I think they're the 7 best, most important. Now they're all not money because they're services. Man, if someone can show you how to make $1 million, why figure out how to get $250,000 when you can already make $1 million yourself and send it? So that's why services and these kinds of help can even be more valuable than money, and they'll also help you find money. The places I have. Now here I threw in 3 more things that you should know about because I just think they're cool and you never know. You would never believe that the government does this. Government has lawyers that will chase down people who owe you money. Right? You're in business, somebody owe you a bad check. The government has lawyers to get that for you. That's right. Who would have thought? Nobody wouldn't have thought. And it's all at this local level, so it's a little complicated to find. So watch that video. We have there for government lawyers that would collect money from people who give you bad checks. So they're your collection agency. Now, who'd be more afraid of the government than some collection agency or your lawyer yourself or whatever that's charging you money? And they're free. They have more power than anybody else you could hire, and they're free. It's incredible. Here's another thing too, like tax questions. Now I have a video here that will show you how I wanted to find out, okay, what's the best way to write off your home business? Okay, watch that video, because that will show you step by step how I call the IRS, what the number is, whatever, and a lady sat on the phone with me explaining everything, the best way to write off your home-based business. I mean, why go to hire somebody who's going to charge you money when they have to go to the IRS to figure out what it is? Instead, you could call the horse's mouth. These are the people who wrote the laws. So why hire somebody, to go learn the law for you and give you an answer when you can collect somebody who wrote the law and they're free? Man, it's a no-brainer. Here's an interesting thing people don't realize. People, if you're living overseas, because I know a lot of people overseas, watch my videos on YouTube, and you can get it's really, you can get a visa for an entrepreneur. You want to come to this country, invest a little money and start a business and things like that? There's a special visa for that. It's an investor's visa. And that visa is an EB-5 investor visa. So if you Google that or watch the video, and you can Google EB-5 investor visa and see the requirements for that. And by the way, you don't even have to be a citizen to use all these programs I talked about. These 10 programs are available for anybody. You're in this country for an afternoon or you've been here for your whole life. It doesn't matter. That's what's neat about our society, particularly services. I mean, some of the requirements on money may require you to be have a green card or citizenship, but the services, no, they're never going to check. So if you're an entrepreneur here and you don't even have a green card, whatever, now that's bad, but it's available. It's for people to grow and see businesses grow other businesses. They grow employees, and that's why the government has all these programs. So you hire yourself as an employee, so you have a job, and they don't have to worry about you. You start hiring other people, they have a job. That's why we have these government programs, government money to help your business grow, no matter what the business is. Well, I know you feel it, but you have to be aware of the whole world is changing right in front of our eyes. Job markets are changing, opportunities are changing, and a lot of this is because of the internet. And there's so many things happening, but the old stuff isn't working anymore. I mean, like the way to get a job or the way to start a company now in our country has changed dramatically. I mean, I don't know if you know of a company called Airbnb. Okay, now this is like a bed and breakfast, but it's not. It's somebody who gives hotel rooms all over the world. Okay, so but they're in people's homes or people's apartments that they don't use and things like that. And this business that is really just a business on the internet because they own nothing. They don't own, they're using other people's apartments. If I have a spare room, I put it on here and then somebody will rent it maybe for $50, $100 for the night. So I'm making money, and they're making money and all that business does is have a website. Doesn't own any rooms, doesn't own any hotels, doesn't own anything, and they're now worth more than Hyatt hotels. That's right. And they have a fraction of the employees. Like Hyatt Hotels has 45,000 employees. This company has maybe a few thousand, and they just went public and they raised like $10 billion. That's more than the value they think of a Hyatt. And actually, I think it's up to 20 now, because this is a data that's a few months old. So here's a business, in the hotel business, owns no rooms, has very few employees, and is a value. So it's, the people who own this thing are making more money, and the people giving the rooms are making money too. Yeah, that they never knew they had before. Now this video is really another kind of business like that. And you see it's happening more and more. Because see, that Airbnb, like I'm using it to go to China, okay? I'm gonna find these great cute little apartments I could get for, excuse me, a lot less than if I went to a hotel. Plus I'm in the community, I'm getting to know people, and they're helping me better than a concierge who's just trying to get more money from me or whatever. And it'll be a more pleasant experience. So this is the growth that's happening. This company now, you're gonna watch this interview, because he's done that with moving. He started a website, okay? Young guys just a year or two out of college said, hey, moving is terrible. Everybody's moving, but nobody uses the professional movies because it costs too much. On this website, they're providing moving help at a fraction of what the big guys cost. You know why? Because they own nothing. They don't own the employees that come out. Yeah, they don't own the big trucks or whatever, with the signs on the side. No, they own nothing. They're just putting things together. If you want to move, you go to this site, and what they do is hire big, football player college types to come out and do it for you, for a fraction of what these movie companies cost. And what's neat about it is the employees only work when they want to. They work when they want to, for the price they want to, and whatever. So they're happier employees, And that's why when you're finding a job, yes, you could have 5, 6 jobs like that, instead of having one lousy job that you hate to go to every day. Oh God, do I gotta go to that thing again? Instead, you can wake up in the morning, hey, maybe I feel like working today. So I'm gonna go and see if I get a job on here today. And you work for the day, you work for the week, work for the year, or whatever. See, so you talk to when you see this interview, you see he sees data that, in a few years, 50% of us will be working as contract employees. No more retirement plan and all this kind of stuff. No, we're living better. See, and they're providing a service that's cheaper. So this has to grow. If I could go somewhere on the internet, somebody doesn't have assets and a big bureaucracy that's going to charge me all this money to get something, and I'm going to get it a lot cheaper, that's going to grow than the old way, right? So that's what happens. That's like taxi cabs, Now, the Ubers and things like that, you're using somebody's private car. So that taxi cab company, Uber, doesn't own any cars. Don't have to worry about it. So no overhead, less people, less problems, all this kind of stuff. And you get direct involvement. See, that's why I think the internet, what it also does is get people closer together. Don't say, everybody has their, face on the phone and we're, separating. No. If I'm able to rent a room from somebody in another city, I'm getting, that internet has brought me closer to somebody I would have never met before. If I'm ever to rent a car from a neighbor, that I barely knew, but his car's available for $50 for the whole day for me to use it or whatever. And then plus, I'm going to treat that nicer, right? Because I know that person. If I get a Hertz car, I'm going to, if I spill soda in it, I don't care. I bring it back. And, it's a big company, and I don't care about this big company, right? But if I'm renting from an individual, and it's all done on a website, so we keep track of each other. Everybody knows who's good and bad, who's naughty or nice, because everybody keeps track on the website. Everybody reviews everybody else. So your neck is out there. That's why I see the internet bringing people closer together. You're going to meet people you never met before, never had an opportunity, never, and you'll treat things better because it's Joe's car. It's not Hertz. I don't care about Hertz because Hertz doesn't care about me. Joe lives down the street, and Joe gives me nice service because he knows me, So this is another one, and what this moving company has done. It's just kids starting a business. 10 years ago, you want to start a business, you'd have to have billions of dollars to get trucks and all this stuff and hire people. Now, you just get the internet, right? So watch this, start learning, man. Well, Stephen Duty, right? No, Cameron Duty, and your partner, Stephen Galatos. I'd probably kill that. But who cares about your name? It's the website, getbellhops.com, and you're two guys, you're a couple years out of college, hated your boring management jobs, didn't you? And you found this thing, bellhops, where now people anywhere in the country practically could get somebody to help them move any of their furniture or whatever they're doing for a fraction of what all these big mover companies have making zillions of dollars doing. You're doing for a fraction of the cost, aren't you?
We are. Why?
Why?
Well, we've decided that there's a huge gap. The moving industry is totally fragmented. Yeah. And you have, close to 50 million Americans will be moving this year,
wow.
and 35 million of those people are do-it-yourselfers.
35 million people do it themselves every time?
Yeah,
God.
It's not because they want to do it themselves, but just because they're price conscious and they don't want to do the hassle and cost.
They want to keep the chiropractors in business. Huh?
Right. Exactly. So, our goal is to reduce the cost of small-scale moving. And we do that by, we're an on-demand tech-based platform for moving help that contracts local college students in 135 cities. And so just to provide great athletic, clean-cut individuals who can communicate with you to show up and say, hey, let's get the job done.
So these are college hunks, so to speak, that are really sitting around looking at their iPhones waiting for a job, and when you plug in on the website, man, you're going to get a call from some good-looking college guy who's willing to move your stuff for a fraction of the cost, right?
That's it.
Yeah. And what you guys provide is the platform, right? So it's the service online. I could go on my phone or on the web and just say, hey, which I did just a few minutes ago, hey, I live in College Park, and I put in your website, College Park, and they say, okay, you want one guy, two guys, three guys, you want a truck, you want whatever, and bam, I had a price at a fraction of what it is. And then if I consummated the deal, I would be getting calls from these people, right?
That's right. And you'd also get an email with pictures of your bellhops and who they are and all that.
I see. That's what. And then, but you guys are insured and everything. So this is just some guy at getting drunk in the college dorm or something and bored. I mean, you guys vent all these people, and you have insurance, and even the people who work for you have workman's comp and things like this, so they're not street people.
Right. Yeah, they're all current college students, and they go through a really thorough screening process. As far as background checks, all of that is totally covered, and we take pride in providing really quality, high caliber individuals.
But it seems more than that. If I need a truck, that you're set up to get a truck at a discount too. Yep.
Essentially, the reason that we provide trucks is just to provide a better service to our customers. It's essentially just a wash. We basically just pass the cost on of what it costs us, but it allows us to get a job that we wouldn't normally get if one of our customers needed a truck.
So no, when I go on the site and say, hey, I need a truck, I just click, hey, I need a truck, and then it's an extra, $130 for the whole day for the truck, but I don't pick it up. I mean, the college guy's picking it up, right? And coming all prepared to use the truck and move me where I want to go. But also what's interesting is that even though I book for 4 or 5 hours, but I only use 2, I'm only getting charged for the 2, right?
Right. So we have a 1 hour minimum, and then we prorate in 15-minute increments. So your bellhops clock in and out on their phones. And so if you booked us for 5 and the job only took 2, you're only paying for 2.
Wow. Well, that's, I don't think these big guys do that. You book for 5 and they bill 10, I think, is what most of
Right.
Because it's so hard to tell sometimes. But more importantly, too, it seems like you're giving a great, income opportunity for college kids. I mean, because this is something so flexible. If they have exams, they don't have to, go to that barista job, even though they're too busy, and they could just take a job when they want it, if they want it, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, independent contractors, I read an article recently that in the next 10 years, 50% of America's workforce will be independent contractors, because it's a more effective way, efficient way for individuals to work.
But not only that now, I mean, we've never had the Internet of Things, so to speak, that we have a place to go to find, to coordinate that supply and demand that's immediate available. So that's why we used to hire people for 7 years and only use them like 1 real year. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And now the internet, because out in California they always work that way. In the movie business, you just went from job to job, project to project, and it's very efficient that way. So the rest of us have to become as efficient as the movie industry.
That's right. Yeah, we're just following
and you're doing it, right. So how did it take a millennial to change this, dinosaur moving industry?
Well, it's technology. I mean, we didn't exist 5 years ago. And, we were fortunate to invest in technology early. And we, managing a workforce of close to 9,000 contractors.
Wow.
You can't do that manually. You can't rely on phones for that. You have to have an application that automates almost everything, from bookings to coordination to communication, all the way to payments. It has to be totally automated, and that's what technology allows us to do.
Is your background technology, or what did you study in?
No, I studied supply chain management in college. And so, unfortunately, I'm a non-technical founder. But learning to code, kids come through our office all the time. And, they're asking, how can we better prepare for once we get out of school? And the answer is you need to learn. You need to learn to code. Because computer programming will be automating much of what right now we're just dumb work. Somebody's sitting in a ticket booth and stamping tickets. I mean, all these different things that we've relied on for 100 years are going to be gone.
Absolutely. Well, it's genius that you saw this, particularly in an underserved, practical industry. I mean, it's so practical. We all got to move, and we're probably going to be moving more because jobs are going to be changing more and all this kind of stuff. And we're not going to be stuck with, existing real estate because nobody thinks that's a good investment anymore. So, which means more moving. Which means we need help moving because all that crap we got.
Like that.
So you got us something very reasonable to solve that problem instead of. The traditional moving industry, anything that's been around 20, 30, 50 years, is full of inefficiencies and overpriced, or like the banking industry, right? And you're changing that single-handedly through technology, and you don't even have a technology degree. That's what's wonderful. Isn't America great?
It is.
Anybody could do anything. But, you guys worked on it for a couple of years before even you got this running to work out the bugs and things like this.
We we essentially proved the market first before we decided to go raise funding, and that was some of the best times that we spent in those early years of really figuring out how are we going to do this, and so. Being in the trenches and making every mistake known to man, it's allowed us to figure out what certainly doesn't work and what works better.
So your success is that you went out there and failed. And to me, that's a key to success, because nobody knows what the hell works anymore. So you got to go out and fail yourself to really find out. And you've done that. And now you got GetBellhops.com, one of the fastest growing ideas in the country. Got 9,000 people, that are ready, willing, and able to work, move you anywhere. And you're in how many cities now?
136.
136 cities. So you just go to GetBellhops.com, find your city, and find out you can get bellhops right now. Move the stuff out of your place. Get it somewhere else. Thank you so much, Cameron.
Thank you.
Say hello to Steve. He's probably doing all the coding. I understand. They put you as the pretty face, right?
I don't know about that.
Thanks again. GetBellhops.com. You know, I think we live in a time now that the big guys are getting left behind. Big corporations and big businesses and everything, they need billions of dollars of sure sales before they get into anything. And now, with everything changing so quickly and technology taking over so much of our entrepreneur spirit in our country now, the big guys are getting left behind. It's little businesses, little entrepreneurs, people in their bedroom, or two people getting together with an idea. And the technology is so new, they're inventing thousands of new ways to take advantage of it. Watch this next video and it'll show you a great example of what's really happening in our country. These are young entrepreneurs that invented a bracelet that changes color to match your outfit. Now, a guy like me would love this. I love talking to this lady. And they're young people from Japan, from China, from the United States, from all over the world, get together on this project. And the bracelet not only changes color, it is so elegant that it helps you find your phone. And also it flashes certain colors depending on who's calling you on the phone. Now, could you imagine like IBM or some big company or even Microsoft talking about stuff like this? No, it takes inventive young people, and they don't need money because they went on the internet now and they raised over $110,000 already to go manufacture this bracelet. See, and that's what's neat, and then that's what's happening, and that's right. They don't need, see, a big company needs, 10 million pieces to sell to make profit because they have so much overhead, so much all this stuff. They don't. They got 400 or 500, sales, and they're in business. They got 100 grand or more already. That's what's cool. See, and that's why you don't need to be big. You don't need these economies of scale anymore. You go on the internet and get your money before you even manufacture. And what better way to do, to identify a business and an opportunity and things like that. And also to create things that nobody else thought about yet. So you can do that now for the first time with technology because you don't have to create a million and then go out and try to sell them. You create one sample and see if it sells, and here, they got $100,000 worth of orders already, and they didn't even make anything yet. So watch this interview and see, and order me one of those bracelets, okay? Because they're great. Well, Jen, and it's Joe, right?
Yes. You got it.
Boy, I've been at the Confucius Institute here for 2 years, and I think I have 4 words I know. Man, you guys have a wonderful language that is such like trying to run a marathon. That's what I'm using it for. It's my Alzheimer's prevention program, trying to learn Mandarin. See?
Well, I have a lot of respect for you. I wouldn't dare to study Chinese as a second language. It's just hard.
But it's wonderful, the culture. And more importantly now, is ellamoon.com. So you're a Chinese entrepreneur immigrant here, right? And
yes.
You're just taking over the fashion industry, I feel, with electronic fashions that are also practical. And I fell in love with it because I'm a colorful guy, and you have this bracelet for women. Now I'm trying to think, now would this be macho enough for me to wear? Do you have one there you could show people?
Yeah, I have one that is currently not charged.
But it's beautifully elegant, and it lights up, right?
Yeah.
Right to your mood. Like if I'm feeling lousy, people can see in my bracelet that I'm not too happy today, and they'll try to make me feel better.
Well, people do gotta say that it's like a techno mood ring, and because the mood ring is such a cultural phenomenon here, and it brings this nostalgic love.
Right.
And when Element was first conceived, I actually didn't make the connection with
I see.
Element because I didn't grow up here.
I
And
know, right.
that culture kind of eludes me. But I would say this is inspired by all the beautiful experience in my life because I love Impressionist paintings and I love Native American jewelry. I also, I can't find my phone all the time. So I want to be beautiful, elegant, as well as functional, utilitarian.
Well, it is. I mean, and it's obviously that. But I mean, don't forget, people. Mood ring is like 30 years ago or 40. All those people will be dead soon anyway. So you're you're into a new market. Don't worry about it. They're just old people. Probably don't want this anyway.
So initially, I was thinking, what if I can wear a strip of Monet's water lily on my wrist, or just a beautiful sunset? Because when I was doing the stand-up paddleboarding in Santa Barbara, I saw this ocean, like half of it turning to orange where it's closer to the sun, and then the other turned into purple and pink when it's close to the beach. So I just want to wear a piece of memory or a beautiful experience that had a very deep emotional impact on me. And then I thought about, because I'm obsessed with color like you, what if it changed color and you can design your own patterns to match whatever you wear. You can wear something casual, but it will really dress you up.
Well, you could put like little hearts on this for Valentine's Day or something like that. It's wonderful. And,
well, that's so before we get into the hardware, we were in software. We make mobile apps in China, and our target is young women. We made a Tamagotchi. It's actually a pet elephant to connect young women with their besties. So it's all about making digital products that convey more emotions and getting connected with your special ones. So when we make the bracelet, naturally we want to set up your VIP list and the calls that you don't want to miss. And when you can design your own patterns when you get alerted to those calls and text messages. So if your boyfriend calls you, it could be a heart. It's
So now this is hooked up to your phone, right? So in other words, this bracelet will light up however you program it to light up, depending on who calls, right?
Yes.
So then you will know if it's your ex-lover calling, then you don't have to answer that, right?
It will be like
don't enter sign.
It will be a crying face.
Well, that's right. But it also helps you find a lost phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have all kinds of stuff in this.
So it's, wonders of Bluetooth technology. And also because we are very powerful high-tech bracelet that disguised in a beautiful design. So we put sensors in it, and we put more advanced accelerator sensor that does more than step tracking. So the current step tracking, it detects certain motions, but it also has limitations. And for us, we can differentiate rubbing the element and tapping element.
Really?
And it's all the natural ways for you to interact with jewelry. So
this is a little toy I would have too. Besides that, I mean, I could be playing with it, and it would do everything but wash my windows.
Imagine if you wear a non-tech jewelry, you would like to rub it and touch it. It's so natural because we designed all the interaction mimicking how people would naturally interact with jewelry without the tech part. And I think to think on tech is very, very important for us.
Oh, well, I think it's tech over. I mean, you're in the fashion week now, right? There must be so much wearable technology up there nowadays.
Yes.
It's one of the hottest things that's going on. And I'm going to talk to you later about how I could get technology question marks on my suit. I mean, that to me is my next step. And that's wonderful.
I actually just went to Burning Man.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Well, you know that in the middle of the desert, when there's no lighting system, essentially LEDs are life and death. So I've seen tens of thousands of people incorporating LED and just glowing elements as part of their fashion statement, and it's fascinating.
When I was there a few years ago, my question mark suits, and nobody noticed me, you know. But now, if I have LED question, you know, because people dress like giraffes and everything, you know, nobody knows a guy in a question mark suit there, you know. But no, I think Burning Man is a wonderful experience, and my son also has an app there where to find your people on the playa. I don't know if you've used it, Facebook app that helps you find your friends on the playa. That's his.
Well, I wish I had more phone connections there.
I was reading now they are getting more next year and things like that.
Yes, there are some tech camps that provide.
I see.
Connection. It was very intimidating for me just to walk into the desert without knowing if I can get on the internet or not in the middle of our Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, that's right. That was a minute. So you couldn't go down to the big coffee tent. They didn't have it there?
They have some sort of internet, but it's very, very limited.
Yeah, that's what I was there about 5 years ago, and
and you walk miles to find something.
Well, you're wonderful, June, and thank you so much for doing all this and showing us how to live better by wearing art that is technology-driven and fun and helps you find your phone, and you can play with it and have different designs and colors and match your outfit. See, that's the important thing to me. I look for matching things so much.
Thank you for your enthusiasm. I just this has been the most rewarding experience. I get connected with curious minds all over the world. I really enjoy doing all the customer support on Kickstarter and answering all the questions. And you get connected with people that are really, really interesting, and you share so much in common, and you wouldn't have get connected otherwise without the product that you're making. So this is
doing something, though. So you did something that attracted people, and that's important. So you're now an inspiration for everybody else in the world to be doing this. And so people want to know it. It's Elemoon, ELEMOON.com, and get it now, because as soon as Kickstarter over, it's going to cost more, isn't it? So you got to.
It costs 200 more. So
wow! So this is a 50% off deal now. So you got to get it now. Well, thank you so much, and such a pleasure to talk with you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, Matthew.
Well, what are you doing next year? Yeah, or like from now to a year from now? Well, how'd you like to make $1.2 million in 1 year, and just doing it all on the internet, getting all your customers on the internet, on these crowdfunding sites. That's what these two guys did, the people you're going to watch now. And they had about 3 or 4 products this past year that they put on the internet. One got, like $600,000 worth of sales. Only got $400,000 worth of sales. And they have another one now. And they had another one that was smaller than that. Man, it's all, I mean, they didn't go through, this is money they got into Walmart and stuff like that with the product. No, they just put it on the internet, on a crowdfunding site, and got that kind of money. Sure, they had to take time to develop the product and think about it, sort of like a good inventor or something. Go out in the wood shop, in the garage, and work on your idea. And once you have idea, then they showed pictures of it on the website. And got $1.2 million just in like 12 months doing this stuff. So that's why I don't even know if it's available in retail yet or not, because they're making so much money just through these crowdfunding sites. And that's what's happening in our country now. I mean, you could take an idea, and sometimes good ideas come fast, or good ideas come slow, or you have to work on it and refine it. And once you get that aha moment, then you just make a sample, and see then if people will buy it, and the people will send you money before you manufacture your product. I mean, that never happened before in this country. You'd have to go to China, make 1 million of these things, and then put them in all the stores and pray that they sell. Now you don't have to do that. You just get one, print it out on a 3D printer, or have a sample made somewhere and explain it on one of these crowdfunding sites. Excuse me. And that's, $1 million. Who would have thought? I mean, the whole game is changing now in our growth and our development, because we could do things faster. So you fail. Say if they fail with a lock, then they'd go back and think of something else, and they didn't have to expend all that money on all this wasted energy and effort making millions of these things and distributing them all over and see if the consumers really like them. And they don't have to do some stupid market study that really never is true anyway. Will you buy one of these? And you say yes or no. Until you put up money. That's the only market study that counts. And that's why with the internet, you have the best market studies in the world. So watch this. Well, Cameron Gibbs and David Gingler, is that how you say it?
You got it.
As long as I get the 800 number or the website, it doesn't matter. And that's getnokey.com. And you guys don't know how to spell because it's getnoke.com, right? But it's for you don't need a key anymore. You guys invented something that it's a lock, and I love that bicycle lock. I think it's a genius thing that opens up with your phone, right? Why didn't anybody think of this before? What's going on in Utah that you guys, the only people think about this stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's one of the things that we asked ourselves when we first started looking to do this. Is we thought, how come there's nothing out there like this? And just kind of fell in our lap that way.
So it's a very reasonable price lock. It looks like the lock you put on your gym locker or something like that, and it works with your iPhone. It talks to your iPhone, right? And if your iPhone is near, or any phone, it works with an Android or iPhone, right? And it knows and it opens up. But more importantly, you can give the code to somebody else, right? So you want to get your bike for you. You left it overnight. And
one of the things we've realized with launching this campaign is, keys, it's old technology. It's been around for hundreds of years, and they can be a real hassle. And it's so convenient when you can get rid of them. We're starting to, we don't ever use a key to get into our car anymore. Right. And we don't use a key to start our car anymore. That all new cars are coming with, you just push a button. And the reason behind that is keys are a hassle. You lose them, you can't find them, and trying to loan out a key can be an issue. But why don't we make our smartphone the key? And so that's how we got started with Nokey.
But it's any smartphone, practically any smartphone it works with now, right?
Correct. It'll work with Apple or Android, and the way it works is basically you walk up to the padlock and you click on the padlock, and what that does is it wakes it up. And then it begins looking for a smartphone with a compatible key, and once it sees it, it'll unlock.
But then what was genius to me is that if for some reason you broke your phone a half hour ago, right, it's still magic, and you could open it, right?
You got it. Yeah. So we were thinking through all the different scenarios. What could go wrong, right? Losing your phone or breaking it are possible scenarios, but the battery dying is a really likely scenario. They die on us all the time. So we built into it what we call quick click technology, and all you do is you just click on the shackle and put a certain code into there, and you put the code in via the app, so it's your own special code. And then, if you ever do forget your phone or lose it or the battery dies, you can still get to your device.
So it's like, pushing ... dash or something like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like the old-fashioned Morse code.
I say, wonderful. And so now, you guys are making millions already in a year on Kickstarter. Your first gadget you had was a recharger, right, for a cell phone. That's a real slick thing called, what is that called again?
EverDock.
So that constantly charges your thing, and a nice thing in your car or anywhere, right?
Yeah. So with the EverDock, we discovered that whenever you got a new smartphone, you'd always have to get rid of your dock and get a new one, because docks are traditionally made to work with one device. Right. So we thought, why don't we make a dock that'll work with your current device? It'll work with your device a year from now. It'll work with your device from a few years from now. So if you're ever to switch from Android to Apple or Apple to Android, you can easily just swap out the cable. And of course, we wanted to design something that looked really nice. And so we kind of followed Apple and used the same principles when designing it. It's made from a solid block of aluminum. It's machined. It's bead blasted, anodized. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And the big benefit of it is not only will it charge any smartphone or tablet, Apple or Android, it also, the big benefit is that it keeps your device charged.
Wow. Well, I mean, that drawer I have in the kitchen of all those old goddamn docks for the last 10 years or whatever.
Throw all those ones away and just replace it with one EverDock.
Wow. Well, you're going to make a lot of other manufacturers very unhappy, it sounds like. Oh, wonderful. Okay, for Noki, getnoki.com and thefeltcase.com. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Matthew.